Welcome to this 20-minute moves session where we are getting a lot of work done in a short period of time. This one is for the upper body, so make sure you have a medium and a light set of weights, and we will jump right into our warm-up in about 15 seconds. So in this workout, we have 3 supersets that we're completing in 3 rounds each, and each one will be back-to-back intervals. So we'll do 2 working intervals before we have a rest period. We're going to start with our warm-up in 2, 1. So big, wide arm circles here. Take the arms out, really sort of rinsing the shoulders, warming them up, switching directions as you're ready. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just starting to get the upper body warmed up, create a little bit of heat. You can take your hands to your shoulders, your fingertips to your shoulders, and just kind of circle the elbows here. We'll switch exercises in 3, 2, and 1. Now we're taking opposite elbows overhead, so feel that stretch in the sides of the waist. And then we'll lean up and over to the left, really root down evenly through both feet. Expand into the rib cage, come up through center, and exhale to the other side. Come up through center here, take your arms out to T, rotate to the left, keep your hips square, press your arms in opposite directions, feel the obliques engage, and then switch sides. So we're twisting now to the right, squaring the hips, and come back through center, shake it out. We're going to take the arms straight out in front. We'll bend the elbows, bring the arms back behind you, come up to a cactus shape, press the arms overhead, come back and down, out the way we came. So it's this pull, cactus shape, reach up and back down. So here we're just kind of lubricating the joints, getting the shoulder and the chest and back ready to move. We'll keep this for 3, 2, and 1. Last stretch here. Eagle arms. Take the right arm under, left arm on top. Maybe floss up and down just for a breath or 2. Feel the back of the heart pull open, and then we'll switch sides. So here, really focusing on that space between the shoulder blades. And then for our final stretch, we'll release. We'll stretch the chest. Interlace your fingers behind you. Stretch your arms straight and strong. Get ready to transition onto your back in 3, 2, and 1. So have your heavy set of weight or your medium set of weights handy. We're coming into a supine position for the first superset. Our first movement is a glute bridge with chest press. So lift the hips up. Let's begin. Take it down. Press up. Elbows out to the sides, and then squeeze the thumbs together. Keep the hips neutral. Try not to dip them side to side. And breathe. So we inhale down, exhale on the exertion. Find that added bit of bonus engagement at the end by squeezing the thumbs together at the top. So you feel that extra work in the chest. Breathe in. We're going straight into our second working interval, a tricep press with skull crusher after this 40 seconds of work. That starts in 3, 2, 1. So palms face each other. We bend at the elbows, bring them right down by your sides. Press it up, skull crusher. So the arms stay straight, bend only at the elbows. Bring the weights down and press them back up. Elbows down by your sides. So we're keeping that 90-degree bend in the working phase. Skull crusher here and back up. Bend the elbows. This one, working smaller muscle groups. So you might find it's a bit more challenging than the chest press. Chest press, engaging larger muscles. And we're using the same weight here. So we'll rest for 20 seconds in 3, 2, 1. There we go. So that was our first round of the superset. I know it's quick. We're fitting a lot of work into this 20-minute period. Coming back to the glute bridge with chest press. Get ready. Take your weights up. Lift the hips. We'll go in 3, 2, and 1. So take the elbows nice and wide and then squeeze to the top. Feel the engagement of the legs by pressing down into the heels, squeezing the inner knees, inner thighs together, and mirroring that in the action in the arms. So imagine kind of both sets of limbs, your arms and legs squeezing to the midline at the top. We're keeping the weights right above the nipple lines. They're not coming too far forward or too far back. This one will start to build heat pretty quickly. Breathe in and out. Down and up, going straight in to our tricep press. Let the hips come down, bend at the elbows, press it up, and then bend once again for skull crusher. Take those weights right beside your ears, so they're coming to either side of your head, hence the term skull crusher. Bend the elbows and come back up. This is a menstrual phase workout, so it need not be kind of your most intense, your highest exertion, but we are looking to capitalize on low hormone physiology. So we want to make it work for us by putting in the stimulus, the weightlifting stimulus, rest, that will help build muscle in the low hormone phase. We have better carbohydrate utilization, quicker recovery. So we're using those things to our advantage, building a high volume of work in just 20 minutes. We've got a little bit more rest here. We'll lift the hips and get your weights into position. This is our final round of this superset, and let's go. Squeeze it up, down, and squeeze. Find the engagement in the chest. Use your breath, those forceful exhales here. Squeeze the inner thighs. Feel the glutes engage without arching the lower back. So lower back stays neutral here. This is our last working interval of the chest press. And then we have one more in this superset before a quick transition back up to our feet for the next round. And come down straight into your tricep press. Press it up. Skull crusher. Take those weights down and squeeze them back up. So you should start to feel the backs of the arms on fire here in this last round, especially if you went a bit more challenging with weight, which I recommend for the menstrual phase when you're through kind of day 3, 4, you're out of the heaviest bleeding, and you're in low hormone territory still. Last few reps here. Take it up. We're here. 3, 2, and 1. Set your weights down. We want to be slow and smooth is fast. So we're transitioning quickly, but being mindful as we move from the supine position back up to standing. So we're going to switch now to our lighter weight range for shoulder press and some shoulder work. We've got about 15 seconds left to transition here. Grab your lighter set of weights and get your weights up so elbows are shoulder height. Shoulders are nice and relaxed down away from the ears. We go in 3, 2, 1. We press the weight overhead, come back down to shoulder height, and bring the forearms together. So this is shoulder mobility, shoulder strength. As you press the weights overhead, be mindful of arching in the back. So you want to knit low ribs and hip points together the entire time so that you're not making up for any gaps in shoulder mobility in the low back. So you want to make sure that we're using only the shoulder mobility to get that weight overhead. So again, that's lifting the pubic bone up toward the navel, kind of drawing the hip points up toward the low ribs. We transition into 1, right to a front raise with a chest fly. So it's this front hammer raise. We open up in the chest fly and back down. This is, again, the smaller muscle groups now paired with a larger muscle group. So what might have felt pretty manageable in the shoulder press is likely very challenging for this chest fly and front raise. We've got 15 more seconds here. Take it out and wide. Back down. Front raise, lift it up. Keep a micro bend in the elbow, so almost like you have your arms around a barrel. Up and rest. You can set the weights down if you like. It's just a quick 20-second rest. So again, in the shoulder press, you want to close the gap between low ribs and hip points without collapsing in the shoulders. So we want to keep that engagement in the core and then lift up straight through the center of the chest. Grab your weights, get them up, and let's begin. Press it up, take it down, close the forearms, and back out. You'll notice it might feel harder in your shoulders. You might start to feel the work more in your shoulders when you keep the hip points and the low ribs drawing together, because it takes the work out of the lower back and it forces you to engage the shoulders and the upper back here. So we want to neutralize the low spine and keep the work where it's intended. We're breathing here. Last 3, 2, and 1. Take the weights down, going straight into our front raise with chest fly. Micro bend in the knees. Bring it up, take it out, back together, and down here. Be careful not to swing the weight. It takes a lot of concentration not to build that momentum through swinging. So you're using that power in the shoulders, the strength in the tops of the shoulders here. Move as slowly as you need to maintain quality reps. So for me, that means a little extra time between reps. 3, 2, and 1. Set those weights down. This is the menstrual phase, so you might be still building energy, still kind of waiting for energy levels to catch up. So I love a good upper body session during kind of the time after you're through your heaviest flow days, where you're not maybe ready, let's begin, for a full leg day or total body day, but you still want to get some solid muscle building work. And that's what this is all about. Take it up, overhead, back down, and feel that rotation in the shoulders. So this one, so challenging not to shrug the shoulders, but keep them relaxed. Lots of space between ears and shoulders. Try not to let your elbows dip down past your shoulders. So it's work just to keep them in that position for this full 40 seconds. Last 3, 2, and 1. Coming into our front raise with chest fly. When you're ready, lift it up, take it out, back together, feel that squeeze, and down. Lift it up and out, together and down. Take a break if you need to. I know my shoulders are burning, and you want not to compromise the form. So you don't want to feel this in your lower back at all. And back down. You can even try single arm, single-sided if you need. For these last 3 seconds, 2 and 1. Set your weights down. You can switch back to your medium to heavy set. We are transitioning to our final superset now, where we're doing kneeling up and overs. So you have 1 or 2 weights. You're just taking them from one shoulder to the next in that kneeling position. What kneeling does is it forces you to use the upper body. We'll alternate that with a tripod row. So you're in your tabletop position and you're rowing while you extend the opposite leg. So we'll start with up and overs in 2, 1. Lift it up and over. So this one on the heels of those shoulder presses likely feels pretty challenging. So you can take 1 or both weights. I might drop down to 1 just to keep better form. We're lifting up and over. As you do this, try to keep the lower body stable. And again, even in the kneeling position, you have that activation of the low belly by hugging the hip points up toward the low ribs. Use your breath during the exertion. We're switching right to our tripod row in 2, 1. Come down. So opposite arm and opposite leg, we take it back. You're not lifting the elbow up, but instead taking it straight back toward the hip. So find that deep activation in the back on the row. You want to keep the spine nice, straight and strong, crown to tail. Avoid letting the shoulders or the hips pop up. That will recruit a lot of core activation to maintain stability and balance as we work through this asymmetrical pattern. This is a great time for this work during your menstrual phase. And rest when you have more connectivity between left and right sides of the brain. So you might find the coordination a little bit easier to grasp, a little bit quicker to catch on to. And that's because we have less hormone interference. Up and overs in 2, 1. Let's begin. Take it up and over, back up and over. So bracing the belly here, clearing the space over your head by using that range of motion in the shoulders. Using a bit of chest here, kind of working the entire upper body with these different movement patterns so that we can get a great workout in just 20 minutes. We're here for a few more reps. Last 3, 2, and 1. Take it down to your tripod row. No rest between these exercises. We go straight into it. Lifting up and back. Use your breath here. Those exhales through pursed lips. Give it some sound. I find that sometimes the sound quality of the breath provides a lot of motivation. You can get that immediate feedback through the senses. So it makes this a moving meditation. Even through lifting weights, you can find those moments of mindfulness. So let your breath be an entry point and rest. We have just one more set, and then we're going right into our cool down. So in about 10 seconds, we'll finish our last round of kneeling up and overs. Get your weight ready. Find your stance, your strong stance, and let's begin. Take it up and over. Up and over. Find that full extension overhead, and then take the weight to the shoulder. I just find this movement to be pretty fun. It feels very functional, and it's also one that I don't use particularly often. So I find that my body responds well to kind of the novelty, a new way of engaging muscles, a new way of moving weight around. Up and over. Last rep here, and come down to your tripod row. Here we go. Last set. Lift it up and back. Keep the belly engaged. You'll find that just to stay balanced, your obliques, your transverse abdominis, all working to stabilize the spine. Your body wants to stay in balance, and so it recruits all the supporting muscles that it can to make that happen. It supports your body in motion. Here we go. Last 5, 2, and 1. We're going to transition right into our cool down. So you can set your weights off to the side. Our cool down will be just enough to kind of rinse the shoulders, the chest and back to send you on your way. So we've got about 15 more seconds left. Just enough time, if your heart rate is still elevated, to take a few deep breaths in and out through the nose and help it come back to more of that baseline place. So we're coming into puppy pose. Now walking the hands forward, softening the chest toward the floor. Keep your hips over your knees and rest the head on the floor. The key here just to stretch the spine, stretch the shoulders. Walk to the left side and come back in. So we get a bit of side body stretch here. And then to the right. Slowing down the breath little by little as you can. And now we're shifting into downward dog. And we'll add some fluidity to this downward dog. So come into your stretch first. And then as you inhale forward, find cow pose. So soften the belly, stretch the gaze up, shine your sitting bones back. Exhale through downward dog. And let your movement map onto the breath. Slowing both as appropriate for this cool down movement. So we're looking to come back to our baseline pretty quickly. Quick recovery here. pause in tabletop. As you're ready, now thread the needle. Take your left arm high, wrap it underneath, bring your left ear to the mat, spider your right fingertips to rotate the heart open. Big breath in and out. And slowly come back up to table, switch sides, inhale, and exhale, wrap it under. Rotate by spidering the left fingertips. Keep this in the upper body now. And then slowly come out. Here we're coming into supported camel, so we're in that kneeling position. Hands are supporting the sacrum. Lean up and back. So focus more on lifting up than bending the back. So we really just want to create this spinal extension to release the front side of the body. And then we'll counter that with rabbit pose. So bring your hands to your heels, forehead toward your knees, tuck your chin, and then you can start to lift the hips off the heels to stretch the back of the spine. And then we'll slowly come out of that. Take your hands to the mat. Step one foot and then the other. Just a moment in ragdoll here. Deep bend in the knees. And then slowly, bone by bone, roll up to stand. Let's take a huge breath together. Inhale. And exhale, sigh it out. That is your 20-minute upper body session, a high volume of work in a short period of time to really get you the movement that you need, that you can fit into any schedule. I want to thank you for making time for yourself today, for showing up, and for letting your body be moved.